Surely.
If we could just have maybe like 3 minutes. All right, we are ready for business.
We will recall the meeting to order at 6:02. So the first item on the agenda is just our roll call. So we've got the crew here, myself, Sean, David, John, Dan, and Morgan. And Jill will not be with us tonight. So our statement of purpose is the Development Authority of Alpharetta is granted the powers and jurisdiction through the State of Georgia General Assembly and a resolution adopted by the Alpharetta City Council on September 3rd, 1996. The function of this authority is to promote the public good and general welfare, trade, commerce, industry, general tax base, and the employment opportunities available in the city of Alpharetta. So first up, we move on to public comment. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment?
I have not received any cards.
All right. Does anybody want to make any public comment? If so, you can approach. All right. Seeing no public comment, we'll proceed. So the first item on the consent agenda is the minutes from the meeting of July 22nd. Do we have, and the financial reports as of June 30th, 2025. Do we have any comments, questions? Do we have a motion for the consent agenda then? So Sean has made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any second?
Second motion.
And David has made a second. We'll now cast our votes electronically. All right, with that, we are 6-0, so they have passed. 6 in favor, 0 opposed. Next up on the agenda is our new business. The first new business item is the revenue note resolution for Dogwood Square. Charlie will give us a brief introduction.
And I apologize, I may have that on your script is wrong, but it's the bond resolution for the Equifax project. My apologies.
We will change that to, we're actually moving on to Equifax. So Charlie will give us an introduction to the Equifax resolution.
Good evening. So this is a bond resolution for the Equifax expansion project that was brought before you back in May. Earlier today, Equifax, in coordination with the city, announced its intent to move forward with the expansion project at its Alpharetta campus located at 1505 Windward Concourse. The company will renovate the third floor of the JVW1 building to repurpose it from data center space to workspace for its corporate technology team. The project will create approximately 244 new jobs and include a $25 million capital investment in the renovations to the JVW1 building, improvements to the on-site parking deck, as well as purchasing of new furniture and equipment. Equifax has subdivided the 17-acre property that is at 1505 Windward Concourse into 2 parcels. One 10-acre parcel, including the to-be renovated JVW1 building, and then another 7-acre parcel approximately with the JVW2 building and the adjoining parking deck. So that's important to note because only the JVW1 parcel will be subject to the bond issuance and the subsequent tax incentive. On May 6, 2025, this body approved a bond inducement resolution declaring its preliminary intent to issue taxable revenue bonds to support the project should Equifax decide to move forward with the expansion in Alpharetta. The bond resolution before you today would authorize the chair to execute all necessary documents for the bond issuance related to that project. Staff, in consultation with our general counsel and bond attorney, is recommending approval of the bond resolution. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Woody Vaughn to provide some additional information.
Really don't have a whole lot to say. Charlie's getting pretty good at this. But yeah, you remember earlier this year, we wanted them to subdivide the land so that the one building, what they weren't making any improvements to, was not going to be part of the tax incentive. So they've done that. This is the form of a lease that you all have done a number of times. No material changes to the lease. That will provide them with an economic benefit on the tax savings on their leasehold estate, similar to a lot of other transactions you've done. There are representatives from Equifax here if you've got any questions about the project in general, and their counsel is here as well. They've been a joy to work with. Their lawyers have been really easy, and it's been a real smooth process. I really don't have a whole lot to add to what Charlie said, but if you have any questions, we can bring up the folks up from Equifax. That's totally up to you all.
So again, this is another scenario where the city, the development authority, have no exposure whatsoever. Do we know what, after the subdivision, do we have the values for the two separate parcels now?
Well, there can be estimates on what those valuations might be. I mean, ultimately, the Board of Assessors will come out, the Fulton County Board of Assessors, they'll do an assessment on the site that's not part of this.
Right.
And they'll do a new assessment because it'll be a new tax parcel. And that building, which is the largest of the buildings, will pay full taxes. And then they'll do an assessment on the parking deck in the smaller building. And that is what is in the bond program. That'll be subject to that 10-year ramp up, 50% break in year one. Then every goes off 5% a year. So at the end of 10 years, it's fully on the tax rolls.
And just to add to that, Jack, so we did do an analysis of what we anticipate that value to be, and that's how we sized the bond at $37 million. That's what we anticipate with the current price per acre, as well as the building that's currently there, plus the renovations that they intend to invest on the property. So that came out to be about $37 million in terms of what we anticipate the appraised value to be.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Woody or for the Equifax reps? I think we're good then. Thank you. With that, any comments, thoughts, questions? Then I guess we're ready to make a motion on this.
I move we pass the bond resolution for the Equifax renovation.
Allowing us to execute.
Yeah, and allowing you to execute any necessary documents.
All right. Sean
Second.
made a motion. Morgan has seconded. So we'll now cast our votes electronically. All the votes are in. So it is passed 6-4 and none against. So thank you. Congratulations. We're happy to have you continue in Alpharetta. So thank you. Next up on the agenda is the Alpharetta Lights on the Loop funding request. So Charlie is going to discuss this.
I'll introduce it. This is a workshop session to discuss a request from the Alpha Foundation, which they're seeking a $10,000 to $20,000 contribution from the Development Authority to support their 2025 Lights on the Loop month-long event. We have Karen Richards here with us, and she'll be presenting on behalf of the Alpha Loop. She'll share some details about that request and what the actual event is that they will be doing this later this fall/winter. So this item is being presented as a work session, so there's no formal action needed today. It's just for discussion to provide staff and council some direction on whether it's something that you all would like to contribute to. If there is consensus after the discussion today, then I'll work with Melissa and we'll draft a MOU with the Alpha Loop Foundation, spelling out kind of the terms of the contribution, and then bring that back to you for approval at next month's meeting. But we do have a couple authority members who serve on the Alpha Loop Foundation board, so I did want to take a moment to provide them an opportunity to disclose that affiliation.
Yes, I'll refrain from any discussion, just considering my involvement with the board.
Mr. Chairman, I have a conflict based upon my service with the Alpha Loop Foundation. I won't be taking part in any discussion or voting on the item.
Yeah, we'll have Karen come in and present.
Miss Richards, if you wouldn't mind to just press the button on the bottom right-hand corner. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Awesome, awesome. So before I get into an overview of the Lights in the Loop event for 2025, I thought it would be helpful to give the Development Authority a brief overview on the activities of the foundation since I last met with you all, which was March of this year. We've had a very, I would say, robust spring and summer as far as the foundation is concerned. And I just want to take you through a couple of the highlights of that briefly, and then I will show you a video that will describe our vision for Lights on the Loop, and then I will take you through our sponsorship package, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have in regards to the sponsorship package. So this is an update from March of when we last met through September 2nd of this year. We have been busy in our ongoing efforts to raise community awareness with being present at the Alpha Loop Farmers Market every month this spring and summer. And the farmers market environment has been a great opportunity for us to actually engage face-to-face with Alpha Loop loopers, as well as folks that are curious about where the Alpha Loop is and folks that are curious about when the next extension of the Alpha Loop is going to occur. So we've had 4 farmers market outings this spring and summer, and in April of this year, we hosted our first Village Tavern sponsored Sip and Stroll. We hosted a number of those in '24 in downtown, but with the opening of the new section of the Loop in '24, we approached Village Tavern about a sponsorship opportunity. And they have been eager to help support the foundation, and we hosted an event in April. Very, very pleased with the attendance. We had over 40 folks, runners and strollers who came to the Village Tavern. They reserved the patio for us. We had guided runs and strolls along the loop, and then we came back to the patio for community time and complimentary Alpha Loop mocktail and cocktails, and really demonstrated the need for that type of activity in that section of the Alpha Loop. As most of you know, it sits behind a lot of communities, Haynes Park and the Atlee and Northwind's office, and isn't readily viewable for most folks that are interested in strolling. So it gave us a great opportunity to highlight the fabulous trail system there, and we will be hosting our second Village Tavern Sip and Stroll at the end of this month. So Thursday, the 29th of September at 6:30, if you're free, come join us at Village Tavern for our fall Sip and Stroll. The top picture, oh, I'm sorry, it's not, okay. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were seeing my presentation, but it's not up there. It's not showing.
Maybe,
Karen, while you're looking, is it Thursday, the 25th?
The last Thursday in September?
Yeah.
6:30?
The 25th.
25th?
Okay.
showing up on a different screen, so I think there's like a, there you go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
It's because of, hang on 1 second. Oh, is that where you wanted to be?
Yep, I'll go back. There we
you
go.
Okay.
Awesome, okay. So the photo on in the top photo here is a picture of a kiosk sign. And this is one of 5 signs that the Alpha Loop Foundation will be installing in the city center area. Wayfinding signage that we found through our interactions at the farmers market and Sip and Strolls was dearly needed. There isn't much signage at all in the downtown area regarding the location of the Alpha Loop. So very soon, we will be installing 5 different signs. The kiosk is the largest of the 5 signs, and this will be located in Brook Street Park. We'll also have wayfinding signs near the library, near the city parking deck, along Academy Street, and internal to Brook Street Park. And we're very grateful to the Alpharetta Business Association for their generous donation that made the purchase of the placemaking signs possible. From a fundraising standpoint, since March, the foundation has been very active in raising funds. We have raised to date $98,104. Out of that $98,000, $76,000 has been raised specifically for the Lights on the Loop event in December. The overall budget is $150,000, so we still have some way to go in regards to meeting the budget. But the entities, the business organizations that we've been speaking with have been very eager to support that Lights on the Loop for 2025. Also, since March, we have added a new board member to the Alpha Loop Foundation. Donna Dodson is a resident of downtown Alpharetta and actually works with Livable Buckhead, that is the primary promoter of Path 400. So she's been integral to our board in helping us move along with the sponsorship activity and has been a great value to our board. These are 2 photos of enhancements that the foundation was recently responsible for implementing. We were successful in raising funds for 2 bridge murals on the Alpha Loop section along Thompson Street. Dusk to Dawn is the one with the clouds and the birds, and Ripple is the one with the water and the fish. We presented to the Alpharetta Cultural Arts Commission in June for both of these particular installations, and they recommended approval, and we were successful in commissioning the artist Alice Stone Collins in July. So during 4th of July is when Alice actually started her artistry on those two particular bridge sections. The loop is open the entire time, so she just sectioned off pieces. And by the middle of July, we were unveiling our two new art murals on the loop. So we're very excited about that, and we have plans moving forward in '26 to look at an opportunity along the newest section of the Alpha Loop over on the Old Milton Parkway side with a similar installation there. So I will move out of this, and if you could set up the video. But before we start the video, I want to just kind of give you some background about how the Lights on the Loop 25 was sort of where it came from. Some of you may know that we did a Lights on the Loop in 2024. The end of December, the foundation activated a section behind North Winds, and we were able to install lights along the tunnel section of the Alpha Loop that goes under West Side Parkway. You may not know, but there's very limited power on the loop as it is today. So we took advantage of the only power that was there and ran an extension cord to the power box, and we installed holiday lights around the actual tunnel and along the railings and so forth. And for 2 weekends in December, the second weekend in December, we activated it, and we had over 500 folks come through. It was free admission. We had in the parking area of the Northwind section, we had a number of different type of activities. We had an arts table for little ones. We had free hot chocolate. We had a donut truck, and it was small scale, but it proved to the foundation that there is a interest in folks getting out and walking, even in the wintertime, and experiencing holiday lights along the loop. And this particular section of the loop is spectacular. It has so many features that are so unique to it and unique to any other trail system in our area, in the Southeast. So at the beginning of this year, John and I were talking to a few stakeholders about what the 2025 version of Lights on the Loop should look like, and we learned that a light installation that had been in the Alpharetta area for a number of years at Amherst, was no longer going to be activated. So we thought that was a great opportunity for us to look at filling that particular void as far as the light installation is concerned. And we talked to our lighting vendor that worked with us for last year, and he put together a vision for us that we thought was really spectacular, and we thought it would dovetail really well with Alpharetta's overall season of celebration. As you know, starts in the end of November with the tree lighting right before Thanksgiving. Avalon's tree lighting follows that, and we're planning on installing the light features in early December, and they will be up and lit through the 1st of January. But the foundation will be activating 3 weekends, Friday and Saturday night for 3 consecutive weekends in December. So with that, if I could ask you to. jump over to another presentation, so just give me just a sec. She has it. Awesome. Okay, so can I move it, can I do it from here? No, okay. Great. So you saw the vision from our lighting vendor, Illuminating Designs. This is actually a photo from our 2024 event, so you can see there that we had the tunnel lit in holiday lights. We also had garland and red bows installed on the long bridge section, the 360-foot long bridge that we have along the Alpha Loop. And thanks to Morgan's efforts, we added twinkle battery lights along that section because there is no power up there. So we're looking at obviously expanding that and expanding the power in that overall area. But so we're looking at, as I said earlier, 3 weekends to activate, and we are expecting on each weekend approximately 1,000 folks to come through Friday and Saturday night. Again, it will be free admission. Registration on Eventbrite will be encouraged. And we will have the activation from 5:30 till 8:30. The lights will be lit every night, Monday through Friday, starting at 5 o'clock, and they will go off at 11 o'clock. But the activation for the foundation will be those specific weekends during those specific times. And we have the Northwinds Office Park has been a phenomenal partner to the foundation over the last couple of years, and they have gladly agreed to give us access to all the parking that they have behind 2500 and 2520 Northwinds Parkway, which is where we held our ribbon cutting event back in June of '24, as well as Lights on the Loop last year. A couple of pictures from both the Lights on the Loop last year as well as the grand opening event. We're looking at creating themes for each of the 3 weekends. And our last weekend, we're looking at it as being a pause and llama type weekend. We have contracted with a vendor who actually has llamas that are considered support animals, and she has agreed to come down the last Saturday that we're going to be doing our activation and stroll the loop and be available for photos and pictures for the youngsters. Thank you. This is the sponsors, the package for the $20,000 level. I won't go through all the details here, but basically you can see that it's a compilation of print marketing opportunities, digital marketing opportunities. The photo on the bottom right is a rendering of what we expect our winter village to look like. Along in that parking area, we will create a winter village that will have sponsors and vendors and food and nibbles and arts and crafts for the families that attend. And this is just a rundown of the level of 10,000 sponsorship and then 5,000. And the next slide you can see is basically an overview of the different offerings based on the sponsorship levels that we can secure. So why am I in front of the Development Authority asking for your support? We believe that this particular event is a great opportunity to spur economic development for all the businesses that are along the Alpha Loop. In the last year and a half, we've created a spreadsheet of all the businesses that are there, and we are actually working with a marketing company that has agreed to offer their services pro bono, and we will be going out and targeting directly to all of those businesses along the loop, not just, obviously, this particular section of the loop, but the section that runs through Avalon, the spurs that have just been opened up along Roswell Street, Lakeview, and so forth. So we see this as a great opportunity for our local businesses and would really be grateful for your partnership for this particular event. This is just a quick overview of the partners that we have secured so far on the left-hand side. and partners that we are in the process of speaking with, and hopefully will be successful in securing their sponsorship on the right-hand side there. And this should look familiar to you all. We stole this from the Economic Development website. This is just, again, our sponsors want to know what kind of reach they're going to be able to achieve in working with us in regards to this particular event. So obviously the daytime population is of great interest to the businesses, and the overall population of Alpharetta, median income, and so forth. Is that it? Yeah, okay. So that's a kind of a quick overview. I'm happy to take questions. I think you probably got this presentation this afternoon, so probably haven't had a lot of time to go through it. I apologize for that, but I'm interested to know if anyone has if I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Karen?
Is the cost, like the 150,000, is that an annual cost, or is a lot of that like the startup with all the lights and everything, the creation and?
That's a great question. I would say that about 40% of it is startup. So we are, when the city planned the Alpha Loop, there was a deliberate decision made not to add power along the loop, only in one particular section, which is right outside the tunnel, which is what we worked with last year. So part of what that 150,000 includes is a lot of power. We're working with Mir Electric, which is the city's lighting vendor, and they've given us an estimate. And part of what we'll be doing this year is installing permanent power, so that we don't have to go through the cost and expense of temporarily powering that section. And that is a very small section right now, based on what we've raised so far in funds. And that's from the south side of the tunnel to sort of the middle of 2500 North Winds Parkway along there. There's 54 lighting poles along the entire Alpha Loop, and we're looking at powering permanently, adding power to about 8 of those for this year. And if we're successful in raising more than the 150, whatever we raise in excess will be put to permanently powering sections of the loop, so that we don't have to incur that cost again.
And will the loop own the lighting, or is it a lease?
It's a lease. We will not own the lighting.
So you're not responsible for storing it then either?
Right, which is a big expense considering the type of lighting that you just saw there. So we will be leasing it. They will have full responsibility for the install and the de-install, and then also for maintaining it for the over 30 days that we're going to be having the lights activated. But to your point, Sean, about the permanent cost, we have found that the North Winds section is just a great opportunity for activation for loop-type events and activities. North Winds is a great partner. Our events are always counter to when they're busy. It's in the evenings and it's on the weekend. So they've been extremely gracious and helpful in helping us activate this section. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity to create some permanent infrastructure there, so that we as a foundation, or the city as a city, doesn't have to incur those expenses over and over again to activate it.
Charlie?
I just have a comment. I think this is terrific for the city of Alpharetta, the businesses, the economic development. Could you remind me of what your ask is, or do we already have a?
Well, my ask is 20,000. Charlie said between 10 and 20 in the staff report. But from a foundation perspective, I think we would be very grateful for a $20,000 partnership level.
I'm happy to make that motion. Why don't we split the difference there, unless Charlie wants to talk about that?
And
This is not a
This is
motion
not for that.
tonight. This is
Correct.
saying, just discussing that we'd like to move forward with this. Charlie, in terms of uncommitted dollars that we have available, what does that look like right now?
Yeah, so currently, the authority has $260,087 of undesignated monies that could be available for investment.
And if everything goes through with Equifax, that would be another 30 some odd.
That's correct.
Okay. In turn, one of the issues is, what our purpose is. And, I'm thinking this is public good and general welfare. So does anybody have any thoughts about that? Because, so we're hearing love it here, love it here.
Did I say that again? What?
Dan, your thoughts?
I think it makes a lot of sense. My wife and I walk the loop every day, so we certainly have an interest. How late is the loop open?
I'm sorry?
How late is the loop open?
So the Alpha Loop is open 24/7. It is a multi-use trail system that connects residents to jobs and retail and that type of thing. So it's 24/7. The lights will not be on 24/7 though.
You said to be cut off at 11 p.m.?
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so people would be discouraged, I guess, from using the loop after 11 o'clock.
I would imagine, generally speaking, in the middle of the wintertime, folks are not out there. I mean, as much as the loop is lit, we have 54 light poles out there. I think that it's not really a great conducive environment. There are folks that are riding, bikes and electric bikes back and forth to work, but in the wintertime, I don't see that as being a negative that they're go
Off
off
the
at
topic,
11.
but just curiosity, when are the two loops that we now have in the area going to be connected across, Old Milton Parkway?
I'm sorry, I didn't,
The two loops that are currently there on Milton, on either side of Milton Parkway, when are they going to be connected?
great question. Public Works currently has bids out to contractors to redesign Kingery Lane by the post office and the crossing at Kingery to make that, to build a spur of the Alpha Loop along that post office section, on the post office side, and improve the crosswalk there so it is much more pedestrian friendly to get from one side of Old Milton Parkway to the other. And then once you cross over, you make a left, and the Chelsea Walk spur, which is the beginning, if you're on our side, is the beginning of the new section of the Alpha Loop, and it's a couple of 100 yards away. So that connection is a priority for the foundation as well as for the city, and Public Works it's currently out to bid. So I think 2026 is when we'll start seeing construction, hopefully finished early '27. Yeah.
And Karen, what, in terms of usage, what's like an average daily count on the Thompson Street side versus this side?
I wish I could tell you the answers to that. So I just learned recently from our Rec and Parks Department, which Rec and Parks are responsible for maintaining the loop once it's built. They are going to be installing counters on city, I call it the Thompson Street section, as well as the new section, Old Milton to North Winds. But currently, I can tell you anecdotally what I see. I see heavy traffic on the Thompson Street Alpha Loop, all morning, evening, afternoon. It's very, very busy. The newer section is less so. I'm out there on a real regular basis. I have a yellow lab that loves to walk, and if I see 8 or 9 people on a Saturday morning walk, it's a lot, and it's unfortunate. I mean, the Atlee folks love it. The Haynes Park and the Chelsea Walk residents love it, but it is because it's not viewable when you're driving your car. It is to me, it's underused, but we'll be installing those counters prior to the December event. And we will be installing, Northwind's office has given us 12 permanent parking spaces directly along the loop that they are going to be putting up signs designating that it's free parking for Alpha Loop visitors. And I think that'll help as well. And if anybody hasn't seen the new section at Lakeview, the new Alpha Loop section around the lake at Lakeview, it's pretty spectacular.
Can you go back to the marketing that you're going to be doing? Mandy, do you have the ability to bring that back up? Just right there, yeah. So when you talk about event postcards, who will that be going to?
Our plan is to develop small postcards that we will make available to all the businesses along the Alpha Loop, so that when customers are coming into Village Tavern or coming into Chiringa or coming into Fagon and Lions, they have the opportunity to pick up a postcard there and see what the event details are.
I'm just personally, thinking about last year's event, we didn't go.
Right.
And, it's how will the residents, besides, if they're being handed a card,
So we will be working with the city of Alpharetta in regards to their reach. Our plan is to include this event information in all of their newsletters and distribution that they do. The ACVB, which is a powerhouse when it comes to marketing and advertising, is one of our key sponsors, and we will be taking advantage of their reach as well. I mean, they've got over 40,000 Instagram followers at this point. And then in addition to that, we have the ABA. So we'll be doing a lot of cross-marketing with our sponsors as far as the awareness is concerned. And we feel between obviously the ACVB and the city of Alpharetta, the Parks and Rec, they have 3 or 4 different social media channels right now that promote different types of things, that we'll be taking advantage of that as well.
okay. And Melissa, what are your thoughts on this in terms of meeting our statement of purpose and that type of thing?
So I know that you referred back to the statement of purpose that's in your, not charter, but in your resolution that created the authority. What we have to do, though, is look to state law and to the authority's powers. And I think where this would fit in more than likely is in sort of the catch-all provision that discusses the authority's power to expend funds that are not being used elsewhere on activities or on projects that promote, I believe it says agriculture, industry, and trade. And I think that's sort of the catch-all thing that we would tie this into how it is a part of Alpharetta's, selling point, creating this environment, supporting the local economy. There's a way to make that connection, I think.
So I'm hearing the 4 of us, essentially saying this is something we'd like to do. So any thoughts on the number?
I'll go back to me, it's economic development. That's what we do. And to me, it's one of the better ways to attract people from the whole area, just to see what's going on in Alpharetta, just like you would go to Avalon or City Center. This is a fun place to take your family. I think getting the word out is critical. I don't even know, this may be one of those times direct mail may actually work as well or better than social media. I kind of like the idea, you asked for a number, right? Maybe splitting that between, maybe in the 10, 12, 15 range. And again, I agree, this is probably as good a way to spend some of this money that we have on hand. So I'd make a motion of somewhere in that range, whatever the board decides.
Yeah, I did want to clarify for a moment. I know in the staff report it said 10 to 20, but that was just a number that was given to me. So I just wanted to clarify that, by no means I was weighing in on 10 or 20 there, so.
Dan, your thoughts?
Again, I asked the question, I haven't been on the, I guess, commission or whatever for a long time. What else do we spend the money on? There's apparently almost $250,000 sitting. And if we take 10, 15, 20,000 out of that, what potential harm would there be? What would potentially not be getting funded?
Well, and that's what I'm, in terms of, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. But, we may be replacing, if we were to do the full boat, it would be replacing it then again. So with what we've just approved tonight with Equifax.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The permanent electrification of what other uses will that have beyond this event? Will there be other things that will be done there? I'm just trying to see if we tie, not that you want to be handcuffed as a fund, but if you tied the money to the sort of permanent improvement along there, if that would be an easier tie for the Development Authority to be funding, since we know there has to be that electric work done anyway. Just, I don't know.
No, that's a great question. And because we've been so hamstrung with the lack of power there, we've been planning just a few type of activities there. Our plan for Lights on the Loop is that this is an annual event. So, and as we, last year was sort of our baby step, and this year we're claiming it's bigger, bolder, and brighter. And we would be looking to add to it and improve it, in the future years. But if we have power, we can also look at other types of opportunities of activation there that we just haven't done because it was cost prohibitive to consider that. And I mean, I can send you an email in 24 hours and give you a bunch of ideas that we could think about doing there. And North Winds has been such a great partner that it's ripe for that type of opportunity. They want to help us raise the awareness level of this particular activity. So I think there could be some really creative things coming down the pike if we have some permanent power infrastructure there.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say if the other members want to hear your input, that's fine.
We'd like to hear your input.
Community development also has we have a pitch book.
John, can you put your mic on?
Community development, in conjunction with the Alpha Loop, has a pitch book for this particular section of ways to raise large sums of money to complete areas of the Alpha Loop that were excluded from the original design. For example, access from North Winds. But to be very specific, what power could give you with additional programming is, one, the expansion of a Lights on a Loop type of event, but two is portable classrooms. The ability to create a bridge with lighting from any of the areas of the parking lots. So really what it gives you is two opportunities, right? Is really to show the full view of a section of the Alpha Loop. The third opportunity it gives you is for the city to then consider, as it completes sections of the loop, that this is something they ought to consider. And if they don't consider it, that there's now a funding method by which we can preemptively understand what those sections are being completed and go ahead and think about where power ought to be. So it's kind of three things, right? One is just more programming. Two is additional ways to fund things that we know we need on these aspects of loop. But two is then to learn, right, where should the power really be for all of the new sections of the loop.
One more question. How much, and I haven't been, I apologize, paying attention lately, how much of the planned loop is finished, like just percent-wise? Like, let's just.
So we have over 6.5 miles completed, and there's another 4.4 that is either under construction or in design. So, we've got more than 50% of it completed at this point.
And is that other 4.4 funded?
From a city perspective, my understanding is, yes, the large component of that is it's referred to as the Alpha Link section that runs along 400 and will eventually connect the loop to the Greenway to Encore. So that has been funded. From what I understand, the city council has reallocated funds to that. So that's about, I think, a $10 million construction project that is funded. And the other sections, like I was speaking earlier, the spur along Kingery Lane by the post office, the spur along Roswell Street, crossing over Old Milton, all of that has been funded as well.
So I think the loop is an amazing thing. I think we've seen the benefits to the businesses and the buildings and the access, and I think it still can be much better known. And I think something like this, helping promote this, beyond just this event, is a promotion of the loop as a whole for our city. And so I'm comfortable personally. I don't know, are we allowed to make a motion tonight, or are we waiting? Does it need to be in?
So what Charlie and I had discussed with this item is bringing it to you in this workshop format to give me some direction as to the number that you would feel comfortable with if this is something you want to fund, and then we'd work with the foundation to prepare an MOU similar to what you've seen with some of our other funding that we've done with other nonprofit organizations, just to set forth, the amount, the purpose, and be spelled out in that MOU. We'd bring that MOU back to you at hopefully your next meeting, because I know this is sort of a time-sensitive thing, and then you would approve it at that time. So I really just need to know a number from you all that we can work with.
You good with 20?
I'm comfortable with 20.
All
All right,
right.
we're good with 20.
We'll get that in the works.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
All right, next up is just a partner update from the City of Alpharetta Economic Development. So Charlie's going to give us an update.
Yeah, as you know, I've been talking about marketing through some of my previous staff reports, and what I thought I would do today is actually walk the Development Authority through our branding guidelines for the Connected Alpharetta brand. I had an opportunity to share with Jack a little over a month ago, and he thought it was a good idea to bring it forward. So I just wanted to walk you through a little bit of how, from an economic development standpoint, we're trying to position the city in terms of being a great place to do business. Mandy, if you'll slide us forward. So a couple of the things, as I came on board, we had a website that had, and that has always been Connected Alpharetta up through 2021. That ties into the city's tagline, which is Georgia's Connected City. So as we were contemplating how to go about figuring out, well, what is our messaging and how do we want to visually display that, we decided to lean into that tagline for the city, which is Georgia's Connected City. A little bit of background on that. So initially, it kind of spun out of our connection to technology. But, with Tech City of the South, which had been the city's tagline for several years, some people felt like that was a little bit too technology-driven and not community-oriented enough. So Georgia's Connected City allows you to actually get a foot in both of those. So, as you recall, Mandy came on board in May, and one of the big tasks for her is, okay, great, you have a marketing person, but then what are you marketing? What is our product? So some of my background before I came here, 2 different organizations, I helped create a regional brand for the New River Valley. And then prior to that, also with Montgomery County, Virginia. And it's really important for economic development marketing because the type of marketing we're trying to do is really focused on businesses. And there's an angle into talent on that because talent is so important to particularly knowledge-based companies, tech companies, that the world we live in now, companies chase talent as opposed to people chasing jobs. So again, we formalized it into what we're calling the Connected Alpharetta brand. The purpose is simple. It's a strategic marketing initiative led by the Department of Economic Development to promote Alpharetta as the premier location for business and top talent. And then our tagline is Georgia is Connected City. And then you'll see some of the logo options here. So tying into that Connected Alpharetta, we really wanted to make sure that we were consistent with the city's branding in terms of color and fonts. So we actually piggybacked off of the city's logo and made a slight variation with the A to kind of pay a small tribute to that connectedness. And as you see, the A by itself actually serves as our mark. So you can think of a mark like Nike, the swoosh, or Under Armour with the two upside down half circles. So that works really nicely when we start deploying the branding into social media. It gives us an icon to kind of play off of. But you can see kind of the different variations there between the blue and white. We also wanted to make sure that, as we pay tribute to Georgia to help people know outside the area where Alpharetta is, that we want to think internationally as well. So not to be confused with Georgia, the country, but Georgia, and that's actually how the state of Georgia, they have USA on their logo for the state, the economic development, just to reinforce that we're in the United States, but thinking kind of big like that. So the logo itself is not intended to replace the city's logo. Again, it's just our way from an economic development standpoint to deploy that. So you still have the city's logo there, and then we still have a department logo. And there's ways that they will actually play off of each other. Like on our website now, we lead with our Connected Alpharetta brand at the top, but at the bottom, we tie in our city economic development logo to make sure people know that it's associated with the city and with our department. So the color palette, we matched up precisely with what the city's doing so that there's integration there. And then fonts, again, these are just things as, again, with guidelines to make sure that we're staying consistent with how we're executing the brand. And then imagery, so we have certain expectations of imagery within all of our marketing, so we want high quality, creative, engaging, authentic photos. And then this is where we get into the key messaging. So with any type of branding, you need something that feels authentic to the community. So if we go out and pitch Alpharetta, but we're selling one thing and then they come here and it doesn't resonate, then you lose credibility. So I'll just kind of read off the brand narrative here. And this is just a summary of what Alpharetta is from an economic development marketing standpoint. So Alpharetta is more than just a place on a map. It's a city defined by connections. As Georgia's connected city, Alpharetta seamlessly links people, places, and possibilities. Families flourish in vibrant neighborhoods, entrepreneurs launch the next big idea, and global companies expand into new markets. Alpharetta connects people to what matters most. It offers the safety and warmth of a small town, paired with the amenities, culture, and sophistication of a modern metro hub. It's a place where innovation thrives, businesses grow, and talent wants to live. With unmatched access to Metro Atlanta and global markets, Alpharetta is a city where connection drives success. And then under your kind of brand narrative, you have typically brand pillars. So there's a rule of 3 within marketing and advertising that people typically remember sets of 3. So typically with economic development marketing, you'll come up with 3 brand pillars that you build off of. So the ones that we came up with tie into that connected or the Georgia's connected city by saying just the easiest thing to say is we're connected to community, connected to innovation, and connected to Metro Atlanta. So what do we actually mean by those things? So on the community piece, that means that we have small town charm with high-end appeal. So we kind of feel, you know, particularly within Metro Atlanta area, we don't feel like a metro, but we still maintain that kind of small town charm. So Alpharetta offers the safety, warmth, and community of a small town with premium amenities, vibrant culture, and dynamic lifestyle of a thriving metropolitan hub. Signature mixed-use districts, extensive parks and trails, and year-round community events make it a top choice for talent, families, and employers alike. And then, so that's kind of the warm and fuzzy. So what does that actually mean? So we have proof points under each one of these that just give a high-level summary of what we mean by that warm and fuzzy narrative. So, you know, you can kind of read some of these here, but you know, we're home to 66,000 residents with a highly educated, affluent, and diverse population, consistently ranked among the best places to live in Metro Atlanta and the U.S., and so on and so on. So as we transition into innovation, so our kind of tagline there is an innovation hub with premier talent and office market. So the types of companies that we're really focused on trying to grow and attract to the city are really to help fill our office, to improve the office occupancy rate. So those types of companies really, they're looking for top talent, and we also want to make sure that they know we're a top office market. We're not just a suburb. So as a proven center for innovation and business success, Alpharetta offers a thriving ecosystem fueled by a highly educated workforce, robust office market, and strong entrepreneurial culture. Companies in technology, life sciences, advanced manufacturing, and corporate services choose Alpharetta for its access to top talent, collaborative culture, and a business-friendly environment. And again, under this, we have the key proof points where we talk about 20 million square feet of office. It kind of flows into that small town charm because most people, I don't think, recognize how much square feet of office we have in Alpharetta because we don't go very vertical with our buildings. It's more horizontal. But we're the fourth largest submarket for office in Metro Atlanta area. You know, our typical stat where we talk about approximately 900 technology companies located here, strong talent pipeline, and we talk about, you know, all of the higher ed institutions that company can pull from the area, and so on and so forth. And then lastly, you know, from a business standpoint, just making sure that people are aware that that this pillar with Metro Atlanta, that we have access to Atlanta and global markets. So we like to say we have access to Atlanta, but not in Atlanta. So strategically located in the heart of North Fulton, Alpharetta offers direct access to Metro Atlanta's vast regional economy and global connections. With seamless access to major highways, MARTA, transit, and the world's busiest airport, companies in Alpharetta can easily reach talent, clients, and markets across the region and around the world. And again, some of the proof points here, just making sure people are aware that we have 5 interchanges on 400 that makes connectivity into the metro easier. We're just 26 miles from downtown and 34 miles from Hartsville-Jackson. And then talking a little bit, trying to leverage a little bit of the Atlanta market. So it is the 8th most populated metro area in the U.S. and the 10th largest economy by GDP within the U.S. as well. So that gives you a little taste of some of those, the brand pillars and some of the lanes that we stay in terms of our marketing. And then I'll turn it over to Mandy now to talk about a little bit how we're deploying that branding right now.
Yeah, so we've been utilizing that branding on the website and our other digital platforms like social media, which I'll show you some of the updates that I've been making to to the website in a second. But as far as social media, we're posting 2 to 3 times a week, leveraging the messaging that you just heard and expanding on it and creating engaging graphics that people will identify Alpharetta with those brand pillars. And using a traditional content marketing approach where the content on social media is driving traffic to the website. And if you're not already, I would recommend following us on these platforms and even engaging with us. Something as small as a like or a share or a comment goes a long way. Now I'm going to show you the website. It will take me a second. So I've been updating the website. Oh, can you see it? Oh, okay. Visually, as you can tell, to reflect our new branding, as well as the content to engage with the messaging, as well as optimize it for search engines, which we've seen our search engine performance rise in just the last couple months, which I'm proud of. But you can even see where we're utilizing our brand pillars here with call to actions. I would definitely encourage you to spend some time on the website, checking out the pages. Every page has been updated at this point for accuracy as well as to incorporate the brand messaging. And the one I'd like to highlight is the news page. Again, utilizing that content marketing strategy, we're posting around one time a week to incorporate news and accolades that we gain in the media to expand upon our brand messaging. So all of these are going to tie in to those things that Charlie presented to you. And it's also just a great way to keep up with what's going on, and it's easily shareable on social media or through our email. Our email marketing is highlighting these posts as well as other things like key properties. And finally, outside of just digital platforms, we've also been working on expanding our printed materials and incorporating the new brand in those. You guys saw the life sciences postcard last time. We just created one for FinTech, and we just finished up a view book that is like a community guide that we can give to brokers, to site selectors, to companies that are interested in moving to Alpharetta, that really pitches why they should move to Alpharetta. And we'll have copies of those for you in the next meeting, which is exciting. But I think that's, yeah, if there's any questions for Charlie and I.
That looks great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the updates, Mandy and Charlie. With that, any additional items for discussion? All right, with no more items for discussion, we can move on to adjourn. No further business. The meeting is adjourned at 7:11.